The Boston Massacre did not occur in a vacuum. Relations between the English crown and the colonies had been tense for several years prior to the shootings. Great Britain was the most powerful nation on the globe and exploited the natural resources of the colonies in order to fuel her empire. Across the Atlantic, colonists began to resist. A prime breeding ground for anti-British sentiment was Boston. By 1770, the town was a powder keg. The fuse would soon be lit.
Geographically, Boston is a small town. Every major event related to the Boston Massacre took place within a half-mile of the old State House. But the city was politically divided between Loyalist and Patriot. And in fact, they lived right on top of each other. Paul Revere, the Patriot, lived here, and just a few doors down was the residence of the Lieutenant Governor, Hutchinson, an avowed Loyalist.
In the summer of 1768, the British Crown dispatched 4 regiments of soldiers to occupy Boston in order to keep the peace and collect taxes. The radical patriots did not want to send money to England and escalated the violence. Both sides knew that a confrontation was inevitable. All that was needed was one spark. That spark would be struck on the night of March 5th, 1770. For most Americans, everything we know about the Boston Massacre is derived from this engraving. It was created by the famous patriot Paul Revere 5 years before his legendary midnight ride. The widely circulated picture depicts a small group of unarmed civilians being cut down by a volley of musket fire. This picture has been reprinted in countless history books and pamphlets and has been the defining image of the incident for over 200 years. But almost everything about this engraving is wrong. The shootings took place at night, not daytime. There was a thick layer of snow and ice on the ground, and the colonists were not the passive victims depicted in the engraving. There was a total of 9 British soldiers at the scene that night, not 8. And most importantly, the picture depicts the British Captain Preston standing behind his men. Here, Revere shows his blatant anti-British bias.
The witnesses, first of all, placed Preston in front of the soldiers to begin with. The soldiers are lined up very neatly, as if they're firing in formation and as if they are being given a signal to fire by the commanding officer. This contradicts the witness testimony. This makes it look like a massacre.